Hey there, Griff Hamlin here again. Welcome again, and thanks for joining me. In this video, we're going to build upon the 4 qualities of a blues lick we learned in the last video. And at the end of that, you'll have a solid system for learning new licks and assimilating them into your playing using what I call the 4 steps to mastery. Now, hopefully you took the time to practice those 3 blues licks I showed you in the last video. And more importantly, I hope you practiced them the way that I showed you, because that, as it turns out, is the first step in the 4 steps to mastery process. So if for some reason you didn't get the PDF from the last lesson about the 4 qualities of a blues lick, I'll leave a link to that PDF on this page and the video as well. And you really should take some time with that before we move on. But assuming that you have seen that video and you've worked on the licks, let's get into the 4 steps to mastery system. Now the first step is exactly what you saw at the end of the last video. You'll count out loud through the lick in time and play the lick starting when the lick starts and at the end of the lick, making sure that you're ending when you're supposed to end. So as you count, I like to call the counting a ruler, and that's basically my ruler through time. So when I get to the beat where my lick is supposed to start, I start playing. And I go, and when I get to the beat where my lick is supposed to end, I make sure that I'm playing the last note. If I'm not, then I did something wrong in the middle and I have to go figure out what it is, okay? So again, let me demonstrate. If I do that sort of counting along with the lick, I'm going to do that with lick 1 from yesterday, and it would go like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and I could speed up a little bit if I want, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Eventually we'll get up to speed. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. And again, you might only have to do it a few times. You might have to play through it 100 times. It just depends on the lick and, kind of your ability level where you are right now. And remember my litmus test, for having it down, which is, can you carry on a conversation with someone while you play it? I always say, if I can talk to my wife about what we're doing tonight for dinner while I play the lick, then I most definitely have it down. Now, before I go any further, I need to get this lick into the right key. Now, normally I do this before step 1, but in this case, I needed you to have some familiarity with the lick first, and it really doesn't matter. So let's get it into the right key now. Now, the original version of this lick was in the key of G, and we decided that it was a G minor pentatonic lick, kind of centering around that top of box 2 4-note solo pattern. So if I needed an A, I'll just move to box 2 in A. And it really doesn't change anything. But if you're struggling with it, then just count it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And basically, yeah, if it's difficult to change the key like that, then go back to step 1 in the new key and just count through it a few times until it's comfortable and you've got it memorized, okay? Now, the second step to mastery involves knowing what we would need to change in the lick over the various chords in the blues chord progression, the 1, the 4, and the 5. Right, so before we dig into this one, we have to decide what sort of blues progression we're playing over. So we're going to use just a basic 12-bar blues in A. It's a very common progression. It's easy to find. We'll do standard, no quick change, right? Regular turnaround, 5-4-1-5. So again, with this video, I'll include a PDF about the 4 steps to mastery, and I'll keep it on this page near this video. If you want to go ahead and download that, you can either just take a look at it on screen or you can print it out. It'll have the 12-bar blues form that we're going to use. So real quick, pause this video and grab that and bring it up if you haven't already. And good. Okay, you got it? Good. Let's move on. If you look at that PDF, like I said, you'll see the 12-bar blues in A form that we're going to solo over. Keep that in your mind and maybe keep it on screen as we head into step 2, and here's why. For lick 1, as we discussed in the last video, there's nothing that would need to change as the chords change throughout the 12-bar form. So, for step 2, for this lick, we're simply going to count through the 12-bar form. Okay, but what we're going to do differently is we're going to now honor the chord changes. We're going to call out the chords as they arrive, and we'll continue to play the lick whenever it's time. So in other words, on beat 1 of each new chord, I'm going to call out the name of the chord instead of saying 1. But every time we come to beat 2, which is the starting beat for the lick, I'm going to play, right? Easy, right? Probably not. Clear as mud. Let me show you, and I think it'll make a lot more sense. Here we go. This is going to be step 2 for lick 1, and I'm going to play it now in the right key. This is kind of how it'll go. Check it out. Keep in mind that I'm going to count myself in first, so the first 1, 2, 3, 4 is not part of the form. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and D and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and A, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, E, 1 and 2 and D, 2, 3, 4, A, 2 and 3 and 4, E, 3, 4. Now, my guess is that you'll have trouble calling out the chords, but this is an incredibly important skill. Most people get lost in the process of trying to improvise over a 12-bar blues, and if you don't know what chord you're on and you're lost in the form, you're basically flying blind. So not only are you going to improve how well you know the lick by doing this, you're going to improve your overall ability to solo over a 12-bar blues no matter what licks you choose. And by the way, as kind of a side note, if you ever want to just play on your own by yourself, this is exceptionally handy. And if you're familiar with the playing on the porch example, I think it's lesson 31 from Blues Guitar Unleashed, this is the skill that lesson tries to work on as well. Okay. Now, so that's the second step. So we're counting out loud. Notice we're still not using a track, but we're counting out loud and we're honoring the chord changes and in fact calling them out as they go, right? Now the third step is what I call humming it, but you don't have to hum. That's just what I do. What you're going to have to do though is you put on a track that whatever track you're going to be soloing over, and you somehow need to make a note of when your lick would start and end. You can hum it, you can count out loud only when the lick is going on. For example, you can clap your hands, you can snap your fingers, slap your leg, whatever you can do to make it clear that you know this is when the lick is supposed to happen, right? What's also important is that the third step is done without your guitar in your hand. So I usually set it down on my lap and I go through it. So I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to hum it, but I'll probably clap as well. I'll clap when the lick starts, clap when it ends, and I'll hum it, right? So now, again, I'm hearing the tracks, but I'm keeping track of the chords, keeping track of the beats while the track is going on, okay? So let's do, this is step 3 for lick 1. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Da 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 da. 3, 4, 1. Da 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 da. 3, 4, 1. Da 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 da. 3, da 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 da. 3, 4, 1. Da 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 da. 3, 4, 1. Da 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 da. 3, 4. All right, now at this point, you have the lick memorized. You've worked through and learned how to handle playing it over any chord in the 12-bar blues progression, and you've shown yourself where in the progression it would go by just listening along and getting your fingers out of the mix, right? So the only thing now for step 4 to mastery is to, as I say, put your guitar in the way and play the lick along with the track. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is step 4. Now that you've counted it through, now that you've listened and hummed it through, now it's just a matter of putting it all together, and it should be fairly straightforward if you've been able to do all the other steps. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, And now you've got basically a one lick solo. But if you can do all that, you have this lick down as good as you can have it down before actually putting it into a living, breathing solo. But more importantly, you've set yourself up to actually put it into a living, breathing solo and do it successfully. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how to do that in the next video. But for now, know that you have really learned this lick completely and thoroughly. So I'm going to leave it to you to do the same thing with lick number 2, because it also won't change based on the chords going on, so it's the same there. It's already in the key of A, so you don't even need to change the key. But I do want to take some time and I want to draw your attention to lick 3 for a moment. First of all, it's in the wrong key. When we went through the 4 qualities, we saw that it's a D minor pentatonic scale, but we're going to need an A minor pentatonic scale for a solo in A, right? So to bring it down, we'll simply lower it something like this. So we were up here in D, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2. So from D, box 1, C sharp, C, B, B flat, or A sharp, A. Remember that half step bend there too, that's important, it will be. And notice how, knowing the box pattern makes that so easy. You can go right from D to A if you know the pattern. Okay, so now that we have it in the right key, we can talk about step 2, where we're going to count out loud and we're not going to use the track, but we're going to honor the chord progression and the changes. Remember that this lick has that little half step bend up to the major third at the end. But if we were over the 4 and the 5 chord at that point, you'd have to keep that portion of the lick minor by not performing that little half step bend. And we talked about this in the last video. The best way to handle that is just to hold that note, right? Instead of bending it up a half step, keep it minor and just hold it, right? So in order for us to get through step 2, we're going to still, go through and we're going to call out the chords, but if we're playing that section over the 4 or the 5 chord, then we need to not execute that bend, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to demonstrate it, and I think it'll make a little bit more sense. So this is step 2 for lick number 3. We're going to honor the chord changes and count our way through it. It'll look like this. And remember that this starts with a pickup, so I'm going to start it coming into the top of the form. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and A, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and D, and 2, and 3, and 4, and no bend, 2, and 3, and 4, and A, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, E, 2, 3, and 4, and D, no bend, 2, and 3, and 4, and A, and 2, and 3, and 4, and E, no bend, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Right, so yeah, I probably went a little slower. I wanted to make sure you could hear that I had time to say the chord changes and all the things that I was doing. But again, like you would do in step 1, you probably play through that several times, starting slow as you get more comfortable, increasing the speed, right? And before you know it, it just flows out of you, and then you got it, right? So now again, I'm going to put down the guitar, and let's do step 3, where I'm going to hum this lick against the track. Here it goes. 1, 2, 3, and 4, ba ba da 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 da, and 4 and 1 and 2, da 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 da, 3, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, 3 and 4 and da 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 da. All right, and then finally, at this point again, all I should have to do is put the guitar in the way. Play when I hum, play at the same time that I hummed in step 3. That's going to be step 4. So if you can hum it, you can play it. You've probably heard me say that a dozen times over the years, but it's absolutely true. If you can hum it, you can play it. So let's do step 4 for lick number 3. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now you've seen how to do this for licks 1 and 3, and I'm going to leave it to you to try lick 2 on your own today. Remember, this is a workshop, not a lesson. All right, but make sure that you do it, because in the next video, I'm going to show you how to take these licks and put them into a solo that you may already know, right? So until next time, keep practicing, have fun, and I'll see you soon.